This may be a hot take, but Thunderbolts is quite literally the second best MCU film post-Endgame. I am so serious. The amount of love and care put into this project should not go unnoticed. Ladies and gentlemen, the A24 effect. So, Thunderbolts is the latest entry into the MCU. The film is directed by Jake Schreier, and it stars Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Wyatt Russell, Hannah John Kamen, Lewis Pullman, David Harbour, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Ensnared in a death trap, an unconventional team of anti-heroes embarks on a dangerous mission that forces them to confront the darkest corners of their past. So from that description alone, this is a film about trauma and healing from that trauma. Now, Thunderbolts was a movie that I have been eyeing ever since it was first announced. At the time it was announced, I wasn't too excited, but I was very interested. Fast forward to now, and who would have thought that Thunderbolts would end up being one of my personal favorite MCU films? Now, I've heard people say this is quite literally Marvel's version of Suicide Squad, and while I will admit there are very strong similarities, this is not a carbon copy of that. Thunderbolts dives deeper into psychological and human elements more than the Suicide Squad, in my opinion. Also, the group is working together on their own free will. It's not like they have a bomb in the back of their head that's making them work together. So no, I wouldn't call this a Suicide Squad carbon copy, and I'm glad that it wasn't. And truth be told, this movie probably would not have worked as well as it did if it wasn't for the cast's incredible chemistry with one another. I have not seen a group of characters with such electrifying and magnetic chemistry since the Guardians trilogy. Even if you look at their interviews during the promo rollout, they act as if they are a real-life family. I would kill to see the group chat messages, from the banter to the heartfelt moments to even helping, supporting, and encouraging one another. This cast is electrifying. All of the characters in this film have a moment to shine. It didn't feel like nobody was left out. Like, every single character has a moment to shine and a purpose to be in this film. Bucky was awesome as always. Ghost is way more likable now. You have more empathy for John Walker. And of course, David Harbour, being the comedic father of the group, was one of the best parts of the entire film. When it comes to David Harbour, like, this guy gets it. He was the comedic relief, and his timing and his delivery was incredible. And as far as Taskmaster, if you know, you know. But I think we can all agree that the biggest standouts were Florence Pugh as Yelena and Lewis Pullman as Sentry. When it comes to the introduction of new characters post-MCU, Yelena is in my top 3. The movie does such a great job at diving more into her character. You see how she is struggling with the choices of her past. You see how she's struggling to find a new purpose in this world. And you see how the pain and the guilt of losing Natasha has really weighed on her. But you see how much heart that she shows despite the trauma weighing down on her. And then you have Sentry, who, my god, he was way better than I thought he was going to be. Lewis Pullman delivered a masterclass when it came to this performance. Every time Sentry was on screen, I got nervous. He was unpredictable. You didn't know whether he was going to act awkwardly like the little nerdy kid or turn into King Von. I love what they did with the Void. I love that he represents the state of Sentry, or Bob's mental health. He's like this walking dark cloud of built up trauma and pain. That is terrifying. But Lewis Pullman was incredible, and his performance truly drove home the messages and the themes of this film, which I will get into later. And look, even though I loved Lewis's performance, sometimes I still think about what could have been. You know that the Invincible community would have memed this movie to hell. But again, the entire cast, riveting. I know people, including myself, tend to really hate that MCU type humor, but here's the thing. This movie doesn't have a lot of humor. Like, the humor is there, yes, but it's not as excessive as you think. And the best part is that it does not interfere with the serious tones. When the humor is present, it works. But when it's time for the film to get serious, it gets serious. It's not like the film gets dramatic and then that dramatic moment is ruined by a joke. No, this film lets the drama play out, and I thank this movie for doing that. In fact, most of the jokes come from Red Guardian. I love how the first half is a kick-ass action flick and the second half is a psychological thriller, and the two tones blended in perfectly. The action in this movie is pretty damn good. The choreography is on point, the camera work is on point. Like, this is some good ass looking action. Some of the best action we've seen since, well, I guess Deadpool and Wolverine. You have the bird's eye view of Yelena fighting the bad guys, to the crew fighting in this warehouse, to them attempting to fight Sentry. The action was awesome, especially during that fight scene with Sentry. Bro was moving like Omni-Man for real. Visually, this movie is breathtaking. From a cinematography standpoint, this is the best looking MCU film since Guardians 3 and Eternals. And to complement the cinematography, I appreciate this film for filming at on-site locations. That scene where they are all in the desert was breathtaking. breathtaking. I'm tired of the green screen. I need more practicality like this. And speaking of practicality, I was impressed with the amount of practical effects used in this movie. To cars exploding, to an actual building exploding, to the skydiving stunt, to even actual falling debris. This type of talent and work should always be recognized. And it made the film feel a lot more raw and personal. The editing in this movie was also fantastic. Witnessing the incredible editing in the third act, you can tell this is where A24 sprinkled their magic. And how could I forget? The music is immaculate. This is the best soundtrack I've heard for an MCU film in a while. The music feels like I'm witnessing an epic espionage adventure with touches of whimsical and horror and a little bit of dubstep. And going back to what I was saying earlier, this movie tackles some pretty heavy subject material. I appreciate this film for tackling the themes of loneliness, overcoming trauma and grief, not letting your past define you, and finding purpose and a place of belonging. We see how our characters just feel lost in this world. They feel like no one wants them. They feel like a bunch of rejects. But you see how they want to do better things, and they don't want their past to define them, and they don't want their demons to fully corrupt them. And I thought it was done beautifully, especially in the third act. The movie also tackles surviving domestic abuse and child abuse at that, and to show you that even the choices you made in your past, there is always room for redemption. And they could not have executed it more perfectly. Now, I have my concerns with the build-up leading up to Doomsday and then Secret Wars, but that second post-credit scene actually got me hyped up for the future of the MCU. It feels like for the first time in a long time, Marvel has a plan. We are finally building up to something greater. For once. I know originally the plan was Kang, but even that plan was a little shaky. And in the end, they finally revealed what that asterisk stands for. And to be honest, I called it. For the first time in a while, I don't have a lot of problems with a Marvel movie. I'm not saying this movie is perfect, but the flaws that people have with the film, I would either disagree or I don't think it's that big of a deal. The only thing that I can kind of see some people not like is how they defeat Sentry. But even with how they defeat him, it made the most sense. Because look at him and look at them. They are not taking that man head on. Some people probably would have wanted more, but I mean, guys, this ain't that kind of movie. This feels like a breath of fresh air. This is the film that Marvel truly needed to get back on track. And as of right now, with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Captain America Brave New World, Daredevil Born Again, and now Thunderbolts, the MCU is currently 4-0. I don't care. Call me a shill for liking something that you don't. It's just how I feel, man. Once again, the A24 effect. So, plugging Thunderbolts into the rank system, I am placing this one into the pinnacle zone. But yeah, y'all, that is pretty much my review for Thunderbolts. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys thought about the film. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you excited now for the future of the MCU given that post-credit scene? Whatever you thought, let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, guys, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you all in the next one.